What's going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we are going to be reviewing and looking at the Reebok Legacy Lifter 2. So 3 things that I like about this model is number 1, the overall last construction and the toe box. So it seems like Reebok brought this toe box in a little bit compared to the previous Legacy Lifter. The first Legacy Lifter had kind of like a big square toe box that I was kind of swimming in at times. And I really love this Reebok toe construction. It feels a bit more narrow and I can still splay my toes so I don't feel limited at all. So if you were worried about this feeling as kind of swimmy and wide as the Legacy Lifter 1, I think you're gonna really like the reworked last of this model. The second thing that I like about the shoe is that it feels eerily similar to the Nike ROM 2s. And honestly, I gave my pair away a long time ago and I regret it. But this model feels very close to them. They feel very heavy, they lock you down, and they kind of have this nice heavier textile upper that resembles kind of how the ROM 2s felt. So if you're a fan of the ROM 2s or if you've ever worn them, I think you're gonna like this model because it does have a little bit of resemblance to the ROM 2. The third thing that I like about the shoe is that the overall heel construction and boot construction gives you a lot of stability and provides you with a nice lockdown feeling. So whether you're catching weight in a clean or squatting big weight, the overall TPU heel feels very strong and stable. Plus, the boot construction is a bit thicker and they have this TPU wrap similar to the Nano X Froning. So I think you're gonna really like how locked down you feel in this model. But guys, if you wanna read a bit more on the details with the shoe, I have linked a review I've written down below, so check that out. But now let's dive into some cons. So 2 potential cons I could see folks having with this model is number 1, the strap. Check this out. So there's not as much Velcro on this strap that I would personally prefer. I wish it would come up a little bit more because with all of our differences in foot anatomy, if you have a very high arch and you are a bit higher when it comes to just your overall foot position in this model, you may have a tough time actually pulling the strap fully tight and having it be secure. I don't think that's gonna impact a lot of lifters, but it is some food for thought that the Velcro on the strap doesn't wrap that high around the midfoot. The second thing that I could see folks having an issue with this model is that it is slightly heavier. It's a bit of a heavier model when it comes to other weightlifting shoes on the market. Like the ROM 3s are significantly lighter than this, and that's what I was wearing before. So that is something to think about. Personally, I haven't noticed that impact performance at all. But if you are somebody who has that niche want of wanting a very lightweight lifter, that's something to think about. Now let's talk about the performance because that's what I'm most interested in with this model and what I've enjoyed the most. So as for performance, I have really been enjoying this shoe. Again, it reminds me similar to the Nike ROM 2, which I used to wear 6-7 years ago. And honestly, it's great to have that feeling back. The heel is very thick, very stable, and you just feel very locked down in this shoe. And it's very interesting to say because really with any weightlifting shoe, you will be locked down, but this just feels like it's a nice anchor in the ground. And so I'm in powerlifting meet prep right now, so I haven't tested these with all of the Olympic movements. I don't do snatches when I'm in prep. I don't do heavy cleans because quite honestly, my body's just beat to crap, but I have done some lighter hang cleans and cleans in this, and honestly, I don't see the weight being an issue. And for squats, I absolutely love the heel and the drop in this model. Run Repeat has this drop at about 22 millimeters, which is about 0.85-ish inches. So it's a tad higher than the 0.75 inch norm you'll see with some of the Ramaleo models out there. So if you do like a slightly higher heel to toe drop and heel height in your lifter, I think you're really gonna like that. And personally for me, with my long ass legs, it helps actually feed into getting into better positioning when in full depth in the squat. So personally, I love the overall build of the shoe and it has performed exceptionally well, especially in the back squat as I prep for my meet. And I'm gonna be rocking them for my meet. I've switched out the Nikes for the Legacy Lifter 2s because I haven't been enjoying them that much. But again, a couple things to think about is that number 1, overall, they seem very durable, very stable, but they are a bit heavier. So if you are that lifter that wants a lifter to wear in a bunch of different activities in one workout, that might be something to consider. This is not gonna be your more versatile lifter in the sense that you can wear it for, let's say, a back squat and then go do something else in your functional fitness workout if you're doing things back to back. So again, very niche asks, but as a lifter as a whole, when it comes to supporting Olympic lifts, squats, and other more static strength movements, this has been a really solid model. So now the question is the Legacy Lifter 2 worth it? Personally, I think it is. I like the durability in this model. I like the heavier build and how you really feel anchored to the ground. And I think if you're a weightlifting athlete or a powerlifting athlete or just a lifter in general that wants a nice elevated heel for mastering positions in various exercises, this is a good model. Plus the price point isn't that bad compared to other lifters out there. It's pretty in line with what you can expect to pay with other new models. So I think the Legacy Lifter 2 is worth it. And that's coming from somebody who is a die-hard Romalio fan. So as for sizing and fit, in this model, most lifters should be safe going true to size. Now I mentioned that the toe box does feel slightly more narrow compared to the Legacy Lifter 1. Personally, the length is still good and I can still splay my toes really easily in this model. So I don't think a lot of lifters will have an issue when it comes to the sizing in the shoe, but it is slightly tighter than the Legacy Lifter 1. So if you are a Legacy Lifter 1 fan and you're thinking about the 2s, do note that the toe box might feel a bit more snug, but overall when it comes to length and just giving you enough width, I think true to size is gonna be the right call. When it comes to price, you can expect to pay around $200 USD for a new pair of Legacy Lifter 2s. Now I mentioned in the Are They Worth It section that the price point is pretty good on these, and that's because Reebok often has sales on their site and you can usually knock off a couple dollars on these, and if you shop around, you might get lucky and find your size in various colorways marked down. So I would definitely recommend shopping around if you can. I've also linked these down below, so check those out. But now let's dive into the construction of this model. All right guys, breaking down the construction of the Legacy Lifter 2. Up here on the toe box and throughout the midfoot, we have a textile upper. Overall, it feels pretty dang durable, and honestly, if you take good care of these, I don't think the upper is gonna break down very soon for you. We have an extended outsole layer that comes up a little bit around the toe, and then making our way back here to the heel and the boot, we have like a thicker mesh-like material here. As you can see, it is a bit thicker than the midfoot material, and the heel has this TPU wrap similar to the Nano X Froning. So the boot feels nice and deep and cushioned. And honestly, one thing I will say is that when you pull these on, make sure you put a finger here and pull them up. Otherwise, you're gonna push this down and you don't wanna jam up the material in the heel in this model, which I have done and learned the hard way. Over here on the midfoot, we have a singular strap that goes across. So as mentioned before, I would have preferred a bit more Velcro throughout the strap, but it kind of is what it is. If you look at this, so the strap actually does come off and it'll slide out if you need to, but if you can get away without sliding it out, something that I really like about this model is that they have this plastic lip up here on the end of the tongue or the end of the strap. So when you pull it, it doesn't fully come out. Now, obviously tying your laces under this can be kind of a pain in the ass, but you don't have to fully undo the strap every single time. But honestly, I think that's a good sign for also just helping the Velcro kind of go a bit longer, because that strap's not gonna be flying around and getting in the dusty, dirty ground of the gym, etc. Going up the midfoot here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyelets that run up. Overall, I kind of like the midfoot and the eyelets because they are a bit tighter than the Legacy Lifter 1, and I think that feeds into the nice reshaped last of this model. And then flipping it over to the outsole, fully rubber outsole, not a lot going on with its construction. We have a slight split up here on the toe and the heel, but overall, pretty simple outsole construction. And then obviously we have this big, thick TPU cup back here that helps you feel locked down in this model. If you have any questions on this model, or if you think I missed anything, hit me in the comments below and ask away. But now let's wrap this review up. All right guys, that wraps up my review of the Reebok Legacy Lifter 2. Honestly, these shoes have kind of been a breath of fresh air because I am a tough sell on new weightlifting shoes that I start using in rotation way more often. If you have any questions on this model, or if you just want to know anything more or think I missed anything, hit me in the comments below. And as always guys, drop a like to the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.